Good morning. Today is December 30th, 2019. This is Clear Passage Prayer Line. Today, the title of the message is "Sin in the Camp," and this is the pre-victory, pre-movement, pre-walk into the promise conversation. So that's what this is about, and it will hit all of us differently depending on what's going on. So we want to talk about what it actually is and what we're doing and where this is all going. This year went by really fast. This year went by really fast, and so in this year, and even if you just in the lifetime, personally reflect on what have we been asking God to do? What have we been saying, Lord, would you do this? I need this to happen. I need this to happen. Just make a note of what is it that you have been asking the Lord to do. Second thing is, what did He ask you to do? Part one, what did you ask? What did we ask the Lord to do? And many of you have been popping in questions, Lord, I need to do this, do that. I need this done. I need that done. Some, just like a regular list. And then some big things we've asked God to do. And the big things that we've asked God to do is, we've been asking Him to, what have you been asking? What have we been asking Him to do? And in the midst of asking Him, there's some other things that He's been asking us to do, and we want to go back and say, what is that as well? What has He been asking us to do? Okay, hold on one second. I'm getting a text in here. I'm not sure what this is. Okay, one second. Okay. Okay, the title of the message is "Sin in the Camp." I was just taking a second to find out what that was. Sin in the camp. Okay, so now when we talk about sin, and I'm going to be real serious, straight up with you guys. There's no baby Christians on this line that I know of. Sin in the camp is when God tells you to do something and you know to do it and you don't. That's it. And the reason, and you can handle it just like we can handle what's happening in Joshua chapter 7. In Joshua chapter 7, they lost the battle because there was sin in the camp. And when we say sin in the camp, let me make it more clear. Sin is when you know to do something and you're not doing it. I'm not beating anybody in particularly wrong. I'm saying this is for everybody. We are standing on blessed land. We are standing on blessed situation, on blessed scenario that God is truly, truly blessing us. I can't put a quantity. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Okay, let me tell you how blessed we are now. When He said, "A cattle on 1,000 hills is His." The cattle on 1,000 hills is His. I mean, I can bless you. I mean, He can bless you however He's going to bless you. It's not very clear, because sometimes when He says a cattle on 1,000 hills is His, I don't know if you really understand what that is. He didn't say 1,000 cattle on a hill, which is sometimes what you could be thinking. 1,000 cattle on a single hill is His. That's not what He said. He said the cattle on 1,000 hills is His. And the point of this message is to root out foolishness. And sometimes people will have foolishness in their mind, and they've been talking foolishness to themselves for so long that it sounds like it makes sense, but it's foolish conversation. And foolish conversation is when you are in the midst of doing anything other than what God told you to do. If God said, "I'm going to bless you," and then He said, "Get ready, I'm going to bless you," and then you sitting there watching TV, that's foolishness. If He said, you said, "Lord, I need you to do," the reason I asked you last year, what did you ask God to do this year, and what did God ask you to do? Because right in that equation is some stuff that you need to look at. We don't need to keep getting stuck year after year. You should not be this year where you were last year. The same thing should not be happening this year that was happening last year. This is a marker point in your life, so you should be able to measure progress. And I don't mean marginal progress, Progress is different for everybody. Some people are going to go from first grade to third grade to the fourth grade. They're going to skip a grade. And some people are going to be in the first grade twice. And that's the appropriate process because they had a lot of working out to do. So you know your progress, but you also know the issues on procrastination, the issues on distraction, and the issues on stuckness. And when we talk, that's all that equates to sin because it stops you. Anything that stops you and your progressive move of God and the progressive move of what God is telling you to do is sin. The devil don't have to stop you by causing you to jump out and do something crazy. He just has to slow you down enough to miss the train. When I say miss the train, there is a momentum, and then there's a momentum. Let me tell you what the momentum is. The momentum is like this. You can be in a boat with two people and two paddles, and you guys are pedaling. You're making progress. But then there's a steamship that could come along, and he says, meet me on the dock at 7 a.m. on such and such a day, and I'm gonna take you fast. You're gonna get on my steamship and my cruise ship, and I'm gonna take you way faster than you trying to be over here pedaling with your two little pedals in your little bitty boat that you built by yourself. Meet me on such and such a day and be ready and to go, like the 10 virgins, be ready to go, and I'm gonna take you such and such a place, and we're gonna move. Now, when he says we're going to move, that means everybody got to pack up camp, get ready to get on the steamship, be ready, be there, have everything ready. He is not playing. Likewise, I'm not playing. Everything that God has told us to do, we're going to have it done. We are going to have it done. So now here he goes. Here we go. So the cattle on 1,000 hills. Let me tell you why. I guess it was 3 weeks. He's been showing me, so I'm not even pretending like I'm crazy. He's been showing me over and over and over and over and over again, and still I'm still describing it. So he showed me a vision of and I think I called and told it to one of our staff people. That you know how if you fly into town, you fly into New York, you fly into LA, you see the lights. It's nighttime, you see the lights in the city. In LA, as far as the eye can see, you can see nothing but lights. In New York, it's just such a combination and a concentration of lights. They're up. The buildings are so phenomenal that you can see it from afar off. LA is very kind of flat and spread out, but New York is like a ball. I mean, it's lights just incredible. So, but this particular looked like more like LA. But what we were watching were people were coming in to the city called ETM Media, and they were building their own buildings. And there were people coming in 24/7 that we didn't even know anything about. People were coming in, building up. It was called self-propagating. They were growing by themselves. We had set up a system that people could come in and do the will of God and grow by themselves. They were growing ministries, causes, purposes. The infrastructure was such that somebody could get on the system and say, I want to do such and such. And they had the tools there to activate that thing and to make it happen, to push it into the earth realm and to gather the like causes and pull the thing together. It's phenomenal. And so people start showing up from everywhere. People we didn't know, backgrounds beyond where it started. People start coming. You know, you can have a small church and know everybody in there. That's wonderful. Go to every funeral, talk to people, baby births, baptisms, You can do everything. And then the thing can bust out and God can grow you to where you don't know people. You don't know everybody. You know who they are by spirit, and you can know when you stand up and you know that, but you don't really know everybody that you're talking to. So so let me go back to make it something that you could, it was self-propagating is what I mean. And it was growing by itself. It literally before our eyes, it was busting out at the seams, busting and growing and expanding. This was God doing God on God. By God, with God, all Him. Everything was Him. And so when he says a cattle on 1,000 hill, Joseph was talking about when they were gathering the wheat, when he had acted on the word of God in wisdom. Acted on the word of God in wisdom, Joseph was able to store up enough wheat for Egypt that it says they left off counting Write that down on your notes. They left off counting. And that means you can't count it. That means it's good. Now, let me tell you what that means. Can't count. Self-propagation, can't count it. Write those two things down. Self-propagation, look up the word propagation. I don't know how to spell it. It's self-propagation, and meaning it grows by itself. Just like, okay, there's flowers that grow by themselves. If you leave them there, they will just take over. They'll just continue to run down, seed, plant, and do their whole thing. You barely have to do anything. It'll just keep on going. That's what that means. So the cattle on 1,000 hills is different than 1,000 cattle on a single hill. The cattle on 1,000 hills, this is why 1,000 hills, one hill is a lot. 10 hills, plenty. Let's get to 100 hills. So how do you look? What does 1,000 hills look like? 1,000 hills looks like beyond what you could see with your eyes if you stood and went and just swiped left to right. And then let me just tell you something else. If cattle on 1,000 hills wants space, but you can go to another part of the earth and put another 1,000 hills together and outline that, and you would still 1,000 hills is no joke. That's a lot of land. Okay, so let's say cattle on 1,000 hills. Let me tell you why that's such a big number. Because by the time you count one hill, the second hill, the third hill, let's say you get to 50 hills, and you counting 50, it'll take you plenty of time to count roaming cattle on 50 hills. Now, you know how far 50 is from 1,000. So 50 hills. You know why you can't count a cattle on 1,000 hills? Because when you get somewhere down the street, 50 to, you just counting. Back on hill number 1 and number 2, Mama and Daddy cows got busy. There's some baby cows over on number 1 and number 2. Self-propagating is moving. You can't count it because you can't keep them still. Cows make more cows. So by the time you get to 51, you should be shouting right now, understanding what I'm telling you. 50 to 50. So by the time you get to 100, not 1,000. By the time you get to 1,000, you can't count. You have completely lost control of the situation because not one of them numbers is accurate. Because every one of them hills, the cows on them hills have had babies, and they keep having babies. You can't eat the cattle on 1,000 hills. You can't. It's more than what you would need to feed a city, probably a country. The cattle on 1,000 hills. You could not. It would feed everybody, beyond the leather, the cows, the grass, the manure that would come out of that to grow crops. Do you understand what I'm saying? The cattle on 1,000 hills will feed an entire whomever, however long. This is what we're talking about. So when God is moving, he doesn't move on the same. Sometimes people don't grasp that cattle on 1,000 hills is humongous. It is something that will keep you rich forever. Forever. It just, if this is what you wanted to do was count your money, it would keep you busy counting your cows for the rest of your life, because you would never track them all. You'd have to hire people to stand there and wait for the babies to drop and then count them and send the numbers up. Oh, and by the time all the numbers got accumulated, some more babies have come. And especially if a cattle on 1,000 hills is no joke. You can feed everybody because it doesn't take that long to make a cow. And to feed a cow, and all they do is walk around and make some more cows. So that's what we're talking about. Okay. That's how God blesses, and that's how he's moving. So when I go back and say, this year, what did God tell you to do? And this is growth. This is what grows up. This is how you grow up on the whole process of what God is doing. When we say what God is doing, what is he doing in terms of what did he ask you to do? And see, God is a transactional. When I say he's transactional, Jesus. When we talk of Genesis, the first chapter of Genesis, the first 6 days, that was transactional. He was imparting himself, giving into planting, plans, putting plans down in the earth realm. He was laying foundation. He was laying foundation. Now, he's been laying foundation in you individuals for a long time. He's been laying foundation. Your job is to be ready. And so that the foundation, the foundation that God's been laying in you and the stuff that's already in you that needs to come out is two different things. And sometimes we don't take this thing seriously. We don't listen to what God is telling us. God, when he says when he tells you get ready to move, get ready to rock and roll, it's get ready to happen. when soldiers are getting ready to go to war, when the whole group of people getting ready, this is a very serious thing, because that means that the old place is getting unplugged and packed up, and the new place is opening up. Now, when we say new place opening up, that is the equivalent of going from your little rowboat that it can go pretty fast as far as rowboats go, but it's not to be compared to this steamship, this cruise ship that he's getting ready to tell you to get on. They're not the same engine. It's not the same nothing. It's not the same crew. It's not the same engine. It's not the same anything. The other stuff was designed to get you from where you were to where you need to be, but it's not the same. It's bigger. It's bigger, better. It's beyond description. You didn't have carpet in the old little bitty rowboat. You was using a paddle. You and your friends were sitting paddling the boat, and now he's taking you to a place where when you get to the front door, there's a steward, not even the captain. The steward's going to welcome you on the ship, take your luggage. You're still working, but your environment has changed significantly. They're like, no, and you try to, okay, you and your crew, just take it even a little further. You and your crew take your paddles up on the cruise ship, and the steward says, you won't need those here, sir. You can put your paddles down right here. Just go walk over there, and we'll orientate you you'll get an orientation on how the systems in the ship are going to work. And then you'll get an orientation on how this crew, the cook, the kitchen crew is going to work. Your head chef, your maitre d', the staff is going to pack up the rooms, because see, there's people going to be coming on this ship. This is not the rowboat. This is something different. So they're both on water, and technically they're both boats, but outside of that brief definition is nothing the same. You're getting ready to change. So what does that mean? You got to learn the new process. You got to go into the new situation. You got to get prepared. You have to prepare yourself. So in the midst of getting all that done, you're sitting there, and God is taking you somewhere. Do you understand? And where he's taking you, if all you've ever seen is a rowboat or even a big boat, maybe you have seen a tugboat, or you've seen a bigger boat. You can see a big ship and still not get prepared for the next generation of ocean liner that's coming across the water. He can tell you and describe everything, and still you'll be shocked when you see what's getting ready to really happen. But yet and still, he'll tell you enough to get you prepared. So there's stages that he takes you through to get you prepared. That's why I said this year, what did God tell you to do? What did you ask him for? And then what did he tell you to do? Those two things are very important. And like I tell everybody, the day that stuff starts to break and he says, this place is ready, that's ready, this thing is ready, I'm not wasting 5 minutes. One time this is a sidebar conversation. One time, one of my friends was saying, well, when you get your house, when you get ready to buy your house, are you going to stay in the neighborhood? I said, the day that escrow closes and I get the keys in my hand, I'm packing my trunk, and the movers can bring the other stuff later. I'm not missing a sunset in the new house. I'm not missing a ride in the new car. I'm not missing nothing. Nothing, not a single thing, because, and let me tell you, everybody on the prayer line as well, When God moves, I'm moving right with them. I'm not. There's no dust gonna be. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna sit and wait. I'm not waiting for nothing because I am telling every one of you in plenty of time. Have your stuff ready. Get your stuff together. We're gonna talk about sitting in the camp. Get your stuff together. I am not missing God because I'm not an individual human being, and it's not gonna be wait. Let me get it together. Nope. I'm telling you right now. I'm not gonna wait. It's going to happen the second it's ready. When he says it's time to move, I'm saying it's time. And however he does that, however he moves this thing along, that's how it's going to move. Because when I was poor, I was poor. And when we had money, we had money. Now, when we have this abundant bust through breakout blessing, can't describe it. Cattle on 1,000 hill blessing, don't need my little boat paddles no more blessing. That kind of blessing, when that busts out, it's going to bust out. I will be right there standing ready to move in. I will have all my stuff together. How am I supposed to do? What else am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to understand? What? Okay, good. Got it. Wisdom. We've been talking about wisdom. We've been talking about wealth at the level of wisdom and wealth. Wisdom is the container for wealth. Wisdom is the container for wealth. Wisdom means I'm telling you how deadly excuses are. Excuses. I had a neighbor that had and this is how some of people are. This is how important it is. I had a neighbor that had, she had some kind of a lung disease, emphysema. I think something like that. It required for her, and she was a smoker. It required her to use the oxygen, stick the oxygen in the tank. And she would take the oxygen out of her nose, take a smoke of her cigarettes, and then put the oxygen back in. She would do this out in the patio. And it was the most amazing thing, but that's how some of us are with our sin. When we say excuses, when I say excuses, we're handicapped by them. We want the blessing, we want to get up in the promise, but we can't let the thing go that God told us to stop doing or to let go. And only you know what that is. We can't stop it. So we can't. Sin is that type of contaminant. And when I say that, it paralyzes you because you just won't stop, or you won't let it go, or you won't grow out of it, or you won't get uncomfortable to grow out of it, to go to that next step, to do what he's telling you to do. If he's saying, what this year was supposed to happen that God has told you to do, that you keep saying, I'm going to do it, but then you never moved off of level one. You know what that is. Was it sugar? Did he say stop eating sugar? Did he say start walking and exercising? Because it doesn't do you no good to get something and God to bless you, and then you don't have the health. It doesn't do you no good to have a house and you don't have the health to walk around in the house. You see, am I making sense? You have to, the blessing, wisdom is comprehensive blessing. Wisdom is, how do I do what God is telling me to do completely, the whole process? How do I walk into the blessing? How do you do that? So what is he telling you to do so that you can be in full capacity when it's time to get to the thing he's trying to get you to, so you can get blessed and the enemy can steal your disobedience, rebellion, wanting to be mean and ornery and go hold on to the crazy. Sometimes some of us want to hold on to crazy, just don't stay crazy. The Lord is asking you to forgive, apologize, let it go. Oh no, I'm going to keep you can hold your spot in yourself and miss the spot God got for you. The spot God got for you, you may even never seen it before. You've possibly never seen it before. Get out of yourself. Get out of your way. Whatever he tells you to do that thing. Some people praying for husbands, but you won't go to the gym. You won't go to the gym, and you want Rock Hudson, and I'm not talking, maybe I am or maybe I'm not. If this don't apply to you, don't take it. But some people got to have it straight up, face forward, got to have this information, because they will not hear it if I say it in a nice way. They will figure out a way to say that she ain't talking about me. But if you sitting up there and you know better, if you're sitting up there and you know that you need to be walking every day, that you're supposed to be drinking water. Your ankles are swollen. You can't fit your shoes no more. Your knees are hurting. You know what that is? You're toxic. You need to be walking and drinking water and purify your system. And that, because who's gonna do that? Nobody want to. We praying for people, praying for husbands, but you don't want to get it together to create a situation for a husband to walk up into. Stuff everywhere, house in disarray, kids acting crazy, and then you praying for a husband. No, you got to get yourself together, and then he will bring something. You want a blessing. A man want to walk into a blessing just like you want to walk into a blessing, and it's not overwhelming. It is very possible. It can absolutely be done. It is not an overwhelming situation. It is not. God can do miracles. You just take him seriously, and this is why that prayer closet and the praying is so important, because he will whip it into shape. God can hook you up. You might be, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you start feeling better. You start getting skinnier, and you start thinking about. And when I say skinny, I'm not saying some people are wanting to be whatever it is. But when you start looking good and feeling good, and your brain starts working, and you're not tired all the time, and you're not agitated, and you're not fatigued because you're detoxing, then you can think better. Then you start sometimes you can want to do something, but you physically are not in position to do it because you're killing yourself. You still eat. Open up your refrigerator. Is there Kool-Aid in there? Is there a Pepsi and Coca-Cola in your refrigerator? That kills you. That sugar will kill you. It will keep you tired. It will keep you crashing. It will even keep you depressed. I don't even know why I'm on this right now. That when you go into the grocery store, you go over to the produce side. Everything is fresh. Buy vegetables. Buy vegetables. Eat vegetables. Drink water. Eat some more vegetables. Drink some more water. You'd be surprised at what that will do. Okay. I don't know why I'm on this, but let me just finish. When you go to the bathroom, if it really stinks in your house, when you go to the bathroom, do number 2. This is not going on YouTube. And do number 2. If it stinks, you're toxic. If you eat vegetables, really your boo-boo will not stink. It will. If you're eating vegetables and your system is clean, when you go to the bathroom, you will barely smell anything because your system is clean. If you got to spray all down inside the house when you use the bathroom, you're toxic. If your ankles are swollen, you're toxic. If your headache all the time, you're toxic. If you can't go to the bathroom at all, if you're constipated, you're toxic. So, and I'm not a health. I wish Alina was on the line. I'm not a health expert. I don't know. I don't know all that. I know what I just told you about the vegetables, but I'm explaining to you. Green leafy vegetables. These are the things that's going to clean you out, because your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. If your body's toxic and sick, you can't function like you need to function at the timing of God, because you're sick. You are not you're not keeping yourself healthy, and that will block every other blessing coming down the street. You won't even have to be on medication if you're not toxic. If you clean out your system, your body will heal itself if you will give it a chance. If you will give it a chance. So I have gone all in somebody's Kool-Aid, I am sure. So anyway, the holidays are getting over. And don't do it. Don't do something where you're going in and you're okay. Let me say that too. Don't do something where you are just trying to patch it up and make an excuse. Don't do that. Design yourself a new person. God has given you the ability to be all that in a bag of chips. You can be 50, 60, 70, 80 and still be gorgeous. That is not an excuse. If you're wearing a hairstyle you were wearing 10 years ago, it's time to change. If you have not put makeup on and you don't know how that's supposed to look, go to any department store, go to the counter and tell them what I would tell you to do. Look on TV and see, or look on the magazine and say, that kind of looks like me. I like, something beautiful, clean, fresh, makes you look gorgeous. But this is like this. They have makeup right now that you won't even recognize yourself. It's not a bad thing, but it's a good thing. But you need to do you new you. 2020, do a new you. Go through your closet, get that old fogey stuff. There's something called fabulous and there's something called frumpy. You don't want frumpy. Frumpy means where you get comfortable. You just put a jacket on everything, you put a coat on everything, a big sweater on everything. No. God wants you ready to get. You want Boaz, you got to look like Ruth. You want this thing to pop off. You better be working it. You have to work the program to get the program. This is how it works. You don't look frumpy and then want Rock Hudson the or Billy D. Williams, or you guys don't know who these people are. You don't want gorgeous man, big man walking the door, big preacher, wonderful check writing man that will say, baby, what do you want? What do you need to have happen? You want that man to walk in the door, then you need to be that woman meeting him at the door. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Don't ask for something you're not ready to match it. You want beautiful, you got to be beautiful. You want smart, wonderful, and brilliant. God has packed you with all kind of tools. You with the visions and stuff He has given you, and the word He has put in you. You can be all of that in a bag of chips. You know that. You know how awesome and wonderful you can be. Then why aren't you doing it? That's your equipment. That's what you're supposed to do. We're not women. We're not looking like this for nothing. We don't have all this equipment for nothing. You're supposed to use it. So then God is blessing you. You can be a virtuous woman, but you can be a gorgeous, virtuous woman. And every one of you can be absolutely drop dead gorgeous in yourself. You don't have to look like, and then you have to, another thing you need to do, I don't know what I'm saying. This off for somebody. I'm talking to somebody. But another thing you guys need to do is you should cook food fresh. Cook fresh food. I'm telling you. Between the eyelashes and the looking good and the wardrobe and the hooking it up and the working out and the exercising, and you learn how to cook fresh food, not everything all dripping down with grease and everything. Fresh. Go look up the recipes. Learn how to cook. I went to a meeting one time, and this woman had made hors d'oeuvres, but she had made them from scratch. She had what were these things? She had bacon wrapped shrimp. She had beautiful, like these wonderful crackers with a tart cheese and then a honey sprinkled on the top. And then one was boysenberries and different kinds of cheeses, but it was just lovely. And she had little beautiful, toothpicks, and it was just lovely. And she made them all from scratch. And then she served them, and it was so impressive that she knew she went and found something new. If you're making the same meal all the time, find some new recipes. Flip the script, change your environment. You don't have to sit there and get humdrum bored about every single thing, because the reason I'm telling you this is you're asking God for a new thing, but you're not willing to do something new yourself. I know I said something right there. You asking God for a new thing, and you're not willing to do something. You want a new husband? Make a new meal. Cook something different in the kitchen. Change up your seasoning. Come out with something new. Maybe you was doing Patti LaBelle in the kitchen. Now become Martha Stewart. Do whatever you got to do. Present the situation. Get some linen and tablecloths on the table. Have your fork and spoon matching. Class, elegance, etiquette. Do you step up, and everybody else will follow you into it? Would Esther? I'm calling Queen Esther right now. You step up into your situation, and everybody else will follow you into the situation. You set the trend on what's supposed to be happening. You're preparing, and God is preparing you. You need to get prepared yourself. Where is God taking you? You have, as a woman, you have the ability to create an environment. You create it in yourself. You create it in your individuals. You create it in your household. You start changing some stuff out. Get rid of them old drapes. Put some new drapes up. You start asking God, and this can all be done in prayer, because God will hook you up. Let me tell you, God will hook you up. I had okay. I guess this is it today. I have no idea how we got all the way off here, but I'm going to finish this because somebody needs to hear what I'm saying. Sometimes God will tell you to go shopping and get some new stuff. Now, recently, I guess it was a month ago, he told me that I was going into LA. I wasn't going into LA, but he said, go buy new purses, to get 3 new purses. And this is why you have to have your vessel clean, so God can tell you to do some stuff. Do you know some of you guys are missing a blessing, because God would have told you to do something if you had been in a situation where you could hear him? How do you get in a situation where you could hear him? Your vessel is clear and clean, and your ear is right up next to his mouth. You're trying to listen. Say, Lord, this is what I need to get done. God will help you navigate. He'll help you go find a house. He'll help you find the car. He will help you get the new wardrobe. He knows how to dress you. He will tell you how to look because once you know who you are, queen, then you can dress to what you're supposed to be looking like. You will look nothing substitutes class. I promise you, nothing substitutes wonderful etiquette on how things need to be done. You never finish learning. You're running a kingdom. Act like a queen. This is your kingdom. What are you doing? You got your crown. Oh my goodness. You have to do these things. You have to pull it together. You have to be all that. But God is, if he didn't love beauty, when you looked outside, you wouldn't see hills and flowers. You wouldn't see beautiful. He is art all the way. Does art all the time. And he wants you to be beautiful and happy, because when you feel beautiful and when you feel happy and you feel healthy, guess what? You are a nicer person. When your body is filled with sugar and toxic, it will make you grouchy. Even the best of us, you had some stuff you don't have to pray through. You have to walk through. You have to get up off the sofa and walk out the door and keep walking and walk every single day. And then every single day as you walk, you will start shrinking. And as you start shrinking, the toxins are leaving your body. And as you keep drinking water and the toxins start leaving your body, you're going to start feeling better. And then when you start feeling better, you're going to act better. You're not going to be angry, grouchy. You ain't got time. You have a vision, the vision of yourself. Who am I? What is my next version? What am I? Version 101 improved, version 2020. What's the 2020 version of me? What am I going to do? And you spend time and you do that thing. You spend time on yourself, because as you spend time on yourself, then when people would call you something, they really can't call you that thing that was going to call you before. They can't call you and use some demeaning word. I saw a thing called, the word was, I'm going to tell you about the persons in a minute, but the word was frumpy. And they would say 50 fabulous versus 50 frumpy. And that's what this lady was doing, a fashion makeover. And what she was talking about was how to accentuate your body, because when you're exercising, accentuating your body, but not wearing those, when you wear old clothes, you look like, you feel like you pass a mirror and you see something, you go, and you feel that way. It's no point in wearing your hair being gray till it's really, really time. And even then, you see people on TV that older than dirt, and they still got their hair's still brown and black or blonde. You don't see not one drop of gray. You know why? Because it does something to, when you put that on there, your mind says, okay, you will, if you look a certain way, you will adjust to that thing. But nowadays, you can be 50, 60, 70, 80 and be still on and cracking, still beautiful. Beautiful. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. So you got to do the reason you have to do this is because that's how you live in expectation. You want a blessing. You're asking for something. You need to be the thing you're asking for. You're asking for this wonderful situation to come in your life, then you need to be popping that wonderful thing at a home already. Nobody needs to come and tell you. And you consider yourself told, because this was not my message. Consider yourself told on what needs to happen. Then you need to know, don't dress. And if you're still dressing with what you were wearing, if you have stuff in your closet that's 10, 20 years old, get rid of it. Their clothes don't cost that much anymore. Don't wear the same old clothes and the same old shoes and the same. That's how sometimes people get stuck in fashion, because you're still dressing like you were dressing right out of high school, 20s and 30s. That was an error of fashion. And the reason that was so bad is that you can take a 20 or 30-year-old woman, put her in some clothes that people were wearing back in the 80s, and she will look that old. Likewise, you can take somebody that's 50, 60, 70, or 80, put them in clothes that their people are, within reason, but put them in the current style today, and they will look 10, 20 years younger than, because it's a state of mind, and they are beautiful. They look gorgeous. And so that's you. You have to elevate into who you are, so people will talk to you accordingly. When you're looking gorgeous, people do not talk to you crazy. They don't. When you look frumpy, they talk to you frumpy. But when you look gorgeous and fabulous, they don't talk to you crazy anymore. And you have to be that. before you can command that in your environment. If you can't be frumpy asking for fabulous, you got to be fabulous asking for fabulous. Frumpy don't ask for fabulous. Frumpy wears frumpy clothes and asks for some frumpy friends, and everybody sits around. I was at a meeting one time, and everybody's in the table full of women, and they were talking about, yeah, I'm fine, Barbara. I'm single. I don't need a man. I this, I that, and they were just talking. They're just talking about how they have learned to, how their other boyfriend wants to come back, but they won't take him back, and they just talking all this tough woman stuff. And so I just asked a question. I said, "Do you have somebody? Are you by yourself? Are you single? Are you single? Do you have a boy? No, I'm single. Are you single?" I said, and I told them, that's why you guys are all single. That's why y'all comfortable. That's why all of you are comfortable talking about it, because as soon as one of you guys get a man, you will abandon ship immediately. You all have seen where one woman gets a boyfriend, half will get somebody, she is gone. You can't even get her on the phone. You will call and she will put the phone on pause. She will answer, "I'll call you back. I'll do it in a minute. I will forget you." I will like, "Why you keep calling me? Do you know I'm over here? Why are you calling me? Do you know I have company?" I'm not doing anything I ain't supposed to do. But if I'm sitting there watching TV, I'm not going to sit there and talk to girlfriends on the phone, and I'm watching TV with my future husband that does not yet know that he's my future husband, that I have already identified and put the frame around his head. And I say, "Yep, that's him." I'm working on a project. Don't call me. I'm busy. That's how you need to be about your life. You need to be busy doing the things that God has. When God gets you zeroed in on the vision, you need to be single-minded about that thing He has you doing. So let me go back and tell you about the purses. I was supposed to buy purses, and I know why now. And this is important for each one of us to be single-minded on what God is doing. He told me to buy purses. I went downtown. I couldn't find the kind I was trying to look for. I was trying to get. So I was looking for a Louis Vuitton type purse, and I couldn't find it. But then I went into this place, and then he showed me, because when I bought 3 purses, and they looked like $1 million each one of them. They didn't cost that much, but it was a shift. I went from the purse I had all the receipts in, I had been working purse, to the money purse. Now the money purse is a purse that I can sit on the table when I'm having these multi-million-dollar conversations, and I'm not joking either. When I have these conversations, that purse goes with the conversation. See, the mouth and the whole thing has to go together. That purse goes with that conversation. And so that's what he was doing. He wanted to change my mindset. In order for him to change my mindset, he had to have me have something that was going to click. So now every time I look at that one thing I bought shifted my whole mentality. I have 3 of them, beautiful. And so each one of them, the next thing is nothing wrong with wearing something because what God is trying to tell you is who you are. And sometimes the devil wants to keep you stuck on who you used to be, and you need to be focused on who you are. Once you get a good, strong vision of who you are, that's like putting gas in your engine. All they have to do is get out the way, because you're getting ready to put your foot to the metal, and the car's going to move. But you have to get the vision. When you're walking into a vision, that's what he told me to God doesn't like old raggedy stuff. Do you understand? If he did, the flowers that he had 20 years ago would still be in the ground. The flowers reproduce, the trees reproduce, everything comes back new. That's why we have winter, spring, summer, fall, because it comes back new. He is a new God. He is a refreshing, rejuvenating God. He doesn't like old. He don't want you looking old and frumpy and tired. Why? Be who you are. Pull off that old skin and get into the new skin. You need to go. This is your assignment for today. Get you some magazines. If you have Vogue magazine, you have Martha Stewart is good as well. You have beautiful. You have seen something where you said, that is me. That is, because I'm telling you, once you get the power on your mind, once you get powerful in your mind and yourself, you will lift. You will, guess what? You will then, how people talk, they're going to talk to you different, because you see yourself different. They where they would have called you something, they'll turn around and say that to you, and you say, "Excuse me," because that who you was talking to 2 weeks ago, that's not me, right? That's not her now. She's gone. This is like, just like Beyonce says, she's Beyonce. When she gets up on that stage, she got another name. I don't even know what it is, but that's her. And you have to. Fierce is the word. You need to be fierce in the prayer closet. And then when you stand up, you need to be walking that thing that God told you that you are. And if you walk in anything different, that is a lie. What did God call you to be? That's who you need to be, woman. Stand up in your call and do what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be bad, all that in a bag of chips. You're supposed to be really telling people. And let me explain why. It's nothing wrong with being wealthy. It's nothing wrong, as long as the wisdom is wealth in the wisdom of God. And you're supposed to look like that. You're supposed to walk into a room and the scent of your cologne, Jesus have mercy, the scent of the beauty and the cologne should just come in with you. This is a woman of God, suited up, booted up, looking beautiful, talking the word of God, but speaking it in business jargon, having it going on. And when people will stop and say, who is that? That is you. The glory and grace of God should be all over you. Get out, go clean, get rid of that old stuff, and let God show you how to do some new things, because He will have you walking, looking, and talking like. And it's easy if you spending money on all kind of other sugary sweet food. When you get over, produce section of the grocery store is very cheap, because fresh vegetables, it's not as expensive as canned. It's not that expensive. You buy fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. It's way less expensive to cook fresh than it is to buy canned, all that other kind of junk. Just ask God, Lord, I want a new wardrobe. Go into your wardrobe. These are things you need to ask for. Put on your prayer list. I need a new wardrobe. I need a wardrobe that's going to reflect who I am in you now. Who's going to reflect what you have me doing, what you have me calling out, what you have me walking into, what you have me understanding, head to toe, everything. And if you don't like your hair, get some hair, because they got plenty of hair out there. You can be looking gorgeous I don't even want to talk about it. Every other day of the week, you could just be gorgeous. You can look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh my goodness. And that's how you should be, because that's what God thinks about you. And if you're not 90, then you don't have an excuse. If you're not 90, if you anywhere in the 80s, even if you're in the 90s, because there's some fabulous women in the 90s, but I know you guys know with some ones in the 80s that's knocking it down, that's handling business. So nobody on this prayer line is over that old. So that age, I'm not even calling old, that age. So if you're under 70, 60, 50, 40, you should be rocking it. Every single one of you should be rocking your world, in your environment, in the kingdom that God gave you. And you want He's getting you ready for the next step, for the next vision. Then you need to be rocking that thing, and you need to do it, because it will make that. When I bought that one purse, I had a transformation on the way home driving with the purse, because that purse was $1 billion purse. And then I could see the money in the purse. I could see the call in the purse. The next thing I was visualizing, which I'm explaining to you, if you like jewelry, you have to be this thing, because you can't be multi-million-dollar author, pastor, minister, apostle, woman of God, published teacher, whatever, because He called you to do something. But whatever He called you to do, trust and believe. God does not want you to be at the bottom of the line. He's going to make you the front of the line doing that thing. If you're writing a book, you're going to be the book. If you're preaching, or if you're teaching, or if you're doing whatever He's telling you to do, whatever program, when you walk in, the kingdom of God walking in with you, you're not walking in by yourself. You have backup. Then you need to look like you have the kingdom of God with you. You need to look like that, gracious and wonderful and beautiful and loving, non-judgmental, but you got the word of God in your mouth and in your being and in your mind and your heart. You can tell the story of where you used to be, but where God brought you into. That's who you're supposed to be walking in. You know who your Father is. You know who your Father is. We just talked about the cattle on 1,000 hills. Then you need to be speaking that way. You need to be speaking it, walking it, talking it, and doing it. And so I'm gonna pray over everybody that's on the line. But your mindset. You have to get there first. You have to get there in your mind. We are going to be we're going to be talking about sending to camp, but I think however we got into this. But you have to be A strong vision will push them. It will cause you to say, I have come this far. I need to go all the way in. God's got me here. I need to go all the way in. And in the process, it is possible to be absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, the things that God has given you, and to be wise and wonderful, and to have the fruit of the Spirit, and to be speaking in the whatsoevers, and to operate in love. It's possible to be beautiful inside and out, is what I'm telling you. It's possible to be beautiful inside and out. Do you know that if your mission and your work is to go and see people in the hospital, do you know how much more they would just love if you walked in there looking beautiful, smelling wonderful? It will just lift their spirits, because see, God is beautiful all over. That not in your spirit. He's beautiful all over. He's beautiful. I mean, Jesus must have had such a gaze. His eyes must have been unbelievable. He had an aura about him, the presence of God. And that's what you're supposed to reflect it. Be who he told you to be. Stand up in your call. Stand up in what he told you to. I'm telling you, when you get it together, your head's gonna rise up. Your posture is gonna change. That's another thing. Everybody, don't slump. Don't be curving your shoulders and curving your back. Straighten your back up and hold your head up. This is how you're supposed to walk down the street. When you walk through the store, practice walking with your head up. Keep your back absolutely straight. Hold your, I don't know, we all in it today. Hold your stomach in. Look like you are always in, you know why? Because it will change your attitude, and it will change how people talk about you. If you stand there and one person's all drooped down and looking all downtrodden, how you going to tell somebody about Jesus and you look like you barely holding on? Versus the other one that's standing up, back straight, head straight, pleasant in the presence of God. Who is just up, standing in it, walking in it, being that thing. And that what will happen is you now are a receptor of the blessed. You now become a receptor of something better. You are walking in expectation of who is your Father, if that's your daddy, then who are you? And who you are will determine everything else in your household. And then you can start changing that. You want that heathenistic behavior to come out your house, you stop it. You start walking in it. You set the tone. As a woman in the house, you set the tone. No matter what you keep saying happening, you set the tone. You be that gracious one and saying what God would have you to be and what God would have you to do. You're not thank you, Sharon. You're not defeated. You're not defeated. You have won already. And you need to operate, and that's why you do that. That's why you do this thing. That's why you take care of yourself, because you're on a mission and you have something you have to get finished and accomplished in this earth realm before you leave. Make sure, this is another thing. Get ready. You're going to have the $1 million conversations. You need to learn the jargon. You need to operate according to that. When you're speaking, speak like you own something. Speak like you're running something, because you are. You're running the kingdom of God that he's given you, your corner of the universe that he's put you in control of. And I know you know what I'm saying, and I never call people queens, but you are. You have to step into your call, step into what God is having you to do. Just learn the etiquette, learn the terminology, speak slower. When I say speak slower, when you're getting ready to say something important to individuals, even family members. If you want people to talk to you differently, you change your conversation. You change your tone. You change how you speak to them. And always when you're getting ready to say something very important, slow it way, way down and articulate every single word very clearly. Make sure they hear you, because the next thing that comes after this very slow, concise conversation will be an action. So I'm trying to explain. This is how people empower. They don't scream and holler. They speak slow with authority. You've never seen any of the presidents we've ever had. You've never seen none of them stomp around and jump around and have a temper tantrum. They don't have to have temper tantrums. Rumpelstiltskin has a temper tantrum. But if you're in power, you push a button, ask somebody to come in the room and give them some instruction. This is how you handle that. You don't sit there and go and you don't enter conversation until you can do that. But you don't sit there and let somebody ruffle your feathers and get your hair all messed up and get you all out of sorts. Don't do that. You have to stand in your position so that you can be who God is. This is faith. When the person you go in and have that one-on-one conversation with is God Himself. And you know how you do that? Because your hands are clean. You take your shoes off. You become exposed and plain and naked in the presence of God. But when you leave the presence of God, you and God got this thing going on. God and you, have this thing going on. You have talked to the Father. You have become humble before Him. You have put your face on the ground. You have taken your shoes off. You have gotten straight up in His face, talking to your Father. And once you talk to your Father and He tells you go do such and such, then you walking in authority. You handling what He told you to handle. And there's not a single one on this line that cannot up your game 100% from where you used to be to where you need to go. Clean out that closet, get rid of them old clothes, and get you some new ones. And even if you don't have that as much as you had before, get you some new clothes that represent who you are. You have to change it so that you will be able to be consistent in that whole conversation. You have to step up into the thing. Step up into the call and be the thing He told you to be.